Life unscripted from prep to play. Pull up a chair. Don't
Hi everybody,
be late.
welcome back to Life Unscripted, Prep to Plate. I'm your home cook, Chef Montgomery. Welcome back. I had another episode planned for the day, but I decided to change it up a little bit. I was at the local grocery store, found something that we're going to actually get into today. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But let's talk about some prep here real quick. Now, I've got my cutting board. All right, it's been cleaned. Now, on a smooth surface or at home, some people will use paper towels, they'll get them wet, and they'll lay them on it, and then they put the cutting board on it. What I found works best is just these little rubber mats that you can get that go in your drawers or in a cabinet to help things from stop sliding. So what I'm gonna do is take that, lay it down, and I'm gonna put my cutting board on there now. Look, it's not going anywhere. My fingers will, but this won't. Okay. Speaking of fingers, I did wash my hands before we started this episode. I have my knife. We talked about these in episode 2, if you recall. It's already been sharpened. I cleaned it already, so it's ready to be used. Excuse me. So now for me, I like to use gloves. Even if I'm doing something at home, if I'm going to be touching a lot of items, I like to wear gloves. It just keeps things more sanitary and a little better for me, in my opinion. So we're going to do that. So what I did was, again, change the episode. I stopped at the local supermarket and they had a whole boneless pork loin. Look at this monster. Pork chops, pork roast. You can chop this up. We're going to do today, I'm going to show you how to cut one of these guys up so that you can have fresh pork chops. We're going to butterfly some of these so you can cook them faster for like pork chop sandwiches. I'm going to cube some of this up so I can use it later on in an episode for some fried rice, some pork fried rice. So that'll be cool. Now, just so you know, this was $2.99 a pound. All right, $24.11. All right, think about that. 2 people going to McDonald's. You're paying more than that. Look at all the food we're going to get out of this. Now, what I've done is, as I cut these, I'm going to put them here and we'll lay them out so you can see actually how much we're going to get out of this. All right, so what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to cut this open. Now I'm going to just try to cut along the top here because I don't really want to cut into the pork loin itself. Okay, and I have a bag here. So what I'm going to try to do is keep as much of the juice in the bag so I don't make a big old mess. Okay. And there, right into the bag. Now you'll see that this is longer than my cutting board. That's why this extra paper is here. Okay, I'm going to move this out of the way. Now what I'm going to do is I want to dry off some of this. Now it's important that when you're cutting meat, it should be cold. All right, I just took this out of the refrigerator. What happens is if the meat gets warm, it's harder to cut. It starts to get very mushy. So we're going to do this real quick. And yes, I'm using the back of my hand here on that. So I'm going to dab off the board here just a little bit. And then when I'm done today, I'll clean my surface and everything so that I don't have the excess. Now, as I look at this pork loin, we'll see that it's very long. All right, I can do a nice pork roast out of this centerpiece. I can use pork chops out of this end. This end I will probably cut some pork chops for cubes for my fried rice later. And I'm going to flip this back over. Now, the thing about pork loin is there's not a lot that you want to take off of this. The fat will render down very well on these. They're a very lean meat. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start at this end here real quick. going to grab my knife, and I'm just going to square this up. Okay. Now, I'm not going to waste any of this. Chris bought me a nice meat grinder for Christmas.
You're welcome.
So there you go. So I'm going to use that to take some of this pork also, so I can make some sausage for breakfast. So that'll be great. So what I'm going to do now is, as I get ready to cut this, as you look here, I mean, look at that, nice and fresh. The nice thing about cutting your own pork loin as opposed to buying it at the grocery store, when you go to the store, we don't know how long they've been sitting there, wrapped in plastic and sitting on that little black or gray item that's sitting in the bottom of the tray that helps with the absorption of moisture and oxygen. So the flavors compared to what you cut and do are completely different. This seems much more fresh. And at $24 and some odd cents, you can find them all over the place for different prices. So let's just go ahead. Now, if we want thick pork chops, the thing about this is you cut your pork chops as thick as you want. I'm going to go about 2 fingers. That's about 1 inch. So I'm just going to cut right through there. I'm going to start dropping them right there. Again, I'm not going to cut any pork roasts today. I want everything. I want all pork chops out of this. Going back to the knife, you see how easy this thing just slides through this pork chop? Look at this. Right through there. Sharp knife. If you recall what I told you about the dull ones don't work very well. Keep going. So for a pork roast, if I wanted, I could stop here, cut this, and then use the rest of this for whatever I want. I could do more pork chops. I can do the cubes. There will be a episode that we'll do where we'll take a pork roast like this. We'll do some home stuffing out of the box, I know. And what we'll do is we'll cut a pocket in the center of this, open it up, and we'll do 2 other vertical cuts in this. We'll take that homemade stuffing, pack it in this, we'll wrap it, and then you can use that as a roast. You put that in the oven and bake it. Oh, delicious. So we're going to cut up a few more of these here. Look already how many of these thick pork chops we have. And again, they're very lean. Pork chops don't have a whole lot of flavor. They'll absorb whatever seasonings or ingredients that you add to them. So you always want to be in the back of your mind thinking about, what do you want to do with them? How do you want to cook them? You can cook them in the air fryer. You can cook them in the oven. You can smoke them. I love to smoke. I have a GE appliance at home, an indoor smoker. Got that last year. I cook on that thing all the time. It's a nice indoor smoker. You'd be surprised. There's nothing in the house you can smell when it's going. It just smells beautiful in the house. Now, what I want to do is show you here real quick. All right, so if we take one of the pork chops, we can see as I get down here towards this end piece, see the difference here? This is all solid, but as I get more down towards that end, we start to see this open up a little bit more. See there? And it will continue to do that. Now, that part of the pork chop is really very tender. See how it's even more? Almost like cutting some steaks. When you buy the big pieces of meat, which we'll do later on in another episode, you'll start to see where a top sirloin changes from a different type of steak. But just look at all these already that we have. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this. I'm just going to cut this. And again, I can use this for my fried rice. I can use it for just about anything I want, really. So I'm just going to take this, just do some fast cuts. Again, be cautious. It's not a race. Put the cubes over there. I can put this in the grinder to make sausage. If you're going to do that, make sure that this goes back in the refrigerator. it's already starting to warm up, because I've been cutting it and I've been working with it. Make it chilled back down again. Or even toss it in the freezer for just a little bit, because what happens then, as it goes through the grinder, it has a better chance at grinding this into the sausage much better. Otherwise, it'll get stuck in there and just makes a mess. And yeah, you don't want to deal with it. I did have a lesser meat grinder here a while back. It didn't work out so well. It had a plastic rotation in it. Well, that broke. So that was the end of that. And I took a lot of steaks that I've done. I've saved the leftovers and the fat so that I can use them later, so I can make my own hamburger. All right, a nice 80-20 works out really well. And then this, I can do the same with this. Again, I can take this and use it any way I want. Some of these other processes that we'll do, that I'm talking about, we'll do those on other episodes as well, so that you can see what those are like. Again, being very cautious of the fingers. I want to go home with all 10, like I mentioned last episode. So we're going to cut that up. Okay, so look at this. All of this, I can trim this down even smaller, which I'll probably do when I get ready to do my fried rice, because we don't want big pieces like that in your fried rice. So after this cools back down, as I get ready to do that, I'll trim this back down as I do all the prep work for all the other dishes. But look at these. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 pork chops out of that. Okay, I'm just going to grab one of these guys. I'm going to set it down here. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to butterfly a few of these. Look at that. Pork chop sandwich right there. Boom. So I can do a couple more here, because I do like a pork chop sandwich. In the summertime, these cook a lot faster on the griddle and everything by doing a pork chop. And if you're going somewhere, it works out real nice to make a nice pork chop sandwich. There's another nice butterfly there. Let's grab a couple more. How do you like the butterfly pork chop sandwiches, Chris?
They're really good. They're really good.
And having them even smoked, I mean, you take these, and if you're smoking pork chops, they take no time to do. And while the flavor, again, these will absorb whatever flavor you give them. So depending upon your seasonings and everything, it'll just absorb it. And you'll notice I'm taking my time as I cut this. And there. So there's just 4 nice butterfly pork chops that I can do. I can do that to all of these if I want. But it's kind of nice to sometimes do a pork chop like that and apple sauce. Pork chops and apple sauce. For those of you that recall that show. So as you can see, big savings. Now, when I went to the store the other day, I noticed that there were 4 pork chops, thin pork chops. They weren't an inch thick, for almost $5 or $6. Okay, so divide that into about an inch. Put 4 of those in the container for the price. Look at everything that we got here today. This is huge, huge. So what we need to do now is I'm going to go ahead. We're just about done for the day. I've got a lot to clean up. I've got to get this stuff wrapped up, get it put away. I'm going to have to do some vacuum sealing. The nice thing about these are as well is now with these, we're going to be talking and showing and demonstrating vacuum sealers and how those work eventually on another episode as well. I can season these up really well all the way around, put them in a bag, vacuum seal it, put it in the freezer. It'll stay in there for a very long time. But the nice thing about that is with the ingredients and the seasonings on this in the vacuum seal, it's really going to help to absorb those seasonings into the meat itself. So anytime you're going to cook something, get the seasonings on it if you want. let it absorb, set them in the fridge, cook them that way. If you're going to do, sometimes if I'm doing a pork chop and I haven't seasoned it yet, I'll set up the skillet. And again, we'll cook one of these on another episode, but I'll season one side but not the other. Because when I put this in the skillet and it's hot, I don't want it to burn all the seasoning on that side in the skillet. So when I flip it, I don't want all that burnt. So this side will have it, so when I flip it over, I'll be able to season this. All right? So again, $24 and some odd cents at $2.99 a pound. You can find them all over the place. Check around. You can go to Costco. I'm sure they have them all there for even cheaper, and a lot of other places. I really enjoy going here to our local grocery store. The butcher there is amazing. I talk to him all the time, so I really get some good deals. I'm always looking for them. So make sure that when you're done, you're gonna clean up, take off your gloves, pick things up, put on a fresh pair of gloves if you want. Clean your knife, like I told you last week. Clean it, use a sponge with soap. Take your time, that blade is very sharp. Clean your cutting board. After everything's picked up, clean the surface. Warm soapy water, clean the surface that you've used. Make sure that it's all there. Take your baggie, make sure that gets in the garbage. Don't put it in the house. I usually take it out to the recyclable, to the garbage bag out there. That way, in case the juice from the bag itself doesn't leak and get into my trash. And if you have animals, they'll smell it in the house, so they'll want to get into the trash, and that's a mess unto its own. So I hope that was very informative today. I hope you learned something. I thought this was going to be much more fun like today. Chris, can you see all these on here?
I can. They look great.
Perfect. So from me to all of you, thanks again. We enjoy having you. We look forward to having you again very soon. I'm looking forward to getting to cooking, but I just thought this would be something interesting today to show you how to cut your own boneless pork loin. If you have questions, drop them in the comment section below. We'll get to you as soon as possible. I'm sure I missed something or did something wrong. That's okay. We're home cooks. We're home chefs. We're not professionals. I didn't go to Cordon Bleu or anything like that. So we learn as we go. Again, you can find us on Spotify and YouTube for the videos for Life Unscripted, From Prep to Plate. You can find Chris and myself on our other podcast on Spotify, which is a weekly podcast, Life Unscripted with Morgan and Chris. We talk about all kinds of stuff. We have amazing guests on there every week. We just have a lot of fun. So from us to you, thank you very much. We enjoyed having you here today. Have a great week.
Prep to play. Pull up a chair, don't be late. Hands are clean.